Good morning. My name is Elton Ma. I'm Vice President of Commercial Alberta here with Brookfield Residential. Short answer is we provide commercial amenities to help complete a community and offer the best value for the residents. Like any other amenity, similar to schools, public transit, and other essential services, we partner with various levels of government to provide those amenities within our overarching community to help complete the community. Similarly, with developers, we provide the parks, the pathway systems, the homeowners association, and that's probably more specific with Brookfield and other larger developers in Calgary with homeowners associations. But we provide all of those amenities similar to a commercial to ensure that the resident has the complete offering within their community and offers the best value, and all these places provide opportunities for connection and within the community and with the neighbors of the community. Really always depends on the scale and size of the commercial development, but for a number of the community shopping centers that Brookfield provides in its suburban communities, we always start with a focus on necessities-based retail. What that generally means is going to be your grocery is your anchoring, we always say anchoring retailer. Grocery, pharmacy, medical services, those are always necessities that people need, and they need generally with some close proximity and convenience. We then actually shift our focus to what I just said was convenience. We then move to groups such as the convenience store to get your sort of 24 hours if you need a jug of milk sort of thing, usually couples with the gas station. Gas station, some will argue, is a necessities base, and I would say most of it generally in this city is. So we usually shift our focus towards there. Then we kind of move towards some of the convenience, discretionary and personal service retailers. So, liquor store, it's a very convenient sort of location, located wise. We also, with personal services, so your hair, barbershop, hair salons, aesthetics. Then we kind of move into the fitness, the quick serve restaurants, daycares. So we balance the mix of what we need based on sort of needs, and then we start to move towards more discretionary expenditures, such as some of the restaurants or food.
So how are commercial tenants selected? Are they locally owned, franchised, or is there a mix of both?
Short answer is it's a mix, always a mix. We have to balance the project viability. So with that, we have to make sure we're always going to groups that are established businesses, have a proven track record, and when they do, they're all generally, assumably, successful businesses. So we start with those types of groups because that helps balance the project to make sure that it's going to be viable to get off the ground. We do want to balance it with local. There's always shifting demands from the consumer for retail. So we try to balance that need and that desire at the end of the day. But inevitably, when you start a development such as our prototypical with a grocery store, those are going to be nationally oriented retailers. When we get down to some of the more personal service oriented retailers, as well as some food offerings, they become more local in nature. And so we like to find the balance between both. And it always comes back to like I mentioned earlier, the project viability, because at the end of the day, vacancy in a shopping center does nobody any good. It doesn't do the residents good, it doesn't do the owners good. So at the end of the day, it's that fine balance, so it has to be a mix.
How do commercial amenities contribute to the community experience?
I think they're vital. They're integral to a community. I'll akin it to the homeowners associations. Those are intended to be focal points, gathering points for the community to make connections, meet your neighbors, make a friend, find a person for your children to have play dates with, etc. A commercial shopping center is no different. When we have martial arts studios and families are bringing their kids in for, say, martial arts lessons, people connect, and those connections grow and develop into potentially long-lasting friendships. Meeting someone at the local pub is a similar sort of outcome at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, they're very important because people get to serve not only their convenience sort of needs and goods, but also they can find joy, fulfillment, those sorts of things in various establishments within the commercial.
Can amenities influence home values or buyer decisions?
I think with home values, it's always one that's probably a little bit more difficult to measure. But I do believe that it has a large influence on home buyer decisions. I always sort of take the lens, if you have two very comparable sort of communities or developments, one has an additional amenity like commercial versus the other, all things being equal, it doesn't cost really that resident or that buyer anything more to maybe move into the community that has nearby services that, with the full intention that you can walk, cycle to, or if you need to get in your car to get your bag of groceries or get the gas at the grocery store, you can get in the vehicle to do that. So we have seen buyers' decisions being influenced in the business quite heavily by the presence of commercial. So that from our side is pretty fact-based, but that overall, call it premium or value, I believe that the value is there, the value statement is there over time, may not be there in the initial periods of development.
Oh, this one is, how do you decide when a community is ready for commercial development? And can you touch on the differences between a community like Seton versus Livingston or Rockland?
Sure. First and foremost, population is the main driver. Surrounding population to support the retail is always the main driver on timing of when commercial development comes in. In terms of how that then interplays with communities such as Seton, such as Livingston, such as Rockland, I'll start with Seton. Seton is a much larger scale commercial development offering. When you have components such as the hospital, the YMCA, an established high school, the future provision of public transit with an LRT Green Line, those pieces coming together, at the same time we were able to bring forward an office building, a medical office building with a hotel, a theater. Those are actually regional. It's a regional center, so it draws from a much broader, larger scale of population base and demographics. So it sort of serves a sector. That's a key distinction, say, from Livingston. Now, as we kind of get to a medium size, Livingston it's very in close proximity to Country Hills Shopping Center, which is another regional destination shopping center where you find your largest box retailers such as Canadian Tire, Home Depot, those sorts of users. So the scale changes and the nature changes of the retail. So Livingston becomes a little bit more granular with our community focused. And Livingston's one of our largest communities, so it will be grocery anchored. It will have a lot of the neighborhood type services. It may have some that can draw from outside its own local neighborhood boundaries. And that's when you bring in some unique retailers, you can do that. And usually those unique retailers are local retailers, but they're not necessarily easy to find. Sometimes they're new starts, new ideas. But sometimes they can be the riskiest, but sometimes with the greatest reward if they have the right product and offering and customer experience out there. When you get down to some smaller communities and with communities that sometimes has some geological constraints or geographic constraints, I'll say our Rockland community, it's bounded by the river. Its access is, it's a nice private little enclave community. Its access comes from sort of really two locations, Nose Hill Drive, and you can come sort of from down 12 Mile Coulee at the end of the day. But that is very much neighborhood focused, and the scale of the retail then changes in its size. I mean, our goal there would be to provide for same starting point, some level of grocer or a large pharmacy offering and with medical services, and gas station, and then the variety of retail then sort of splines off from there. So when I bring it back, Seton is sort of a large regional draw. Livingston is very broader community focused, and being Livingston of the size it is, that is a large community. And then Rockland, albeit it's communities of its own, its scale is smaller than, say, the Livingston size and influence.
But is there a reason, like a different reason than you've already provided, that Seton got commercial first and then it was built into residential versus Livingston and like Rockland started with residential and then commercial will come later?
Yeah, well, Seton getting residential first, commercial first, it's really based on the fact that the urban district wasn't there just to serve Seton residential and the residents of South Seton. It was really again, more larger regional play to service a portion of the southeast sector. Really, your next competition for a larger scale retail amenity from a Seton is 130th Avenue to the north, and then directly to the west would be over sort of the Shaughnessy area. So Seton is that hub that draws from just a broader context. With groups such as the Y, such as the hospital, you get people driving from greater distances and out sort of further reaching communities than just the local neighborhoods immediately adjacent to Seton. And that's why the Seton Urban District was able to sort of get out of the ground. I mean, it really was catalyzed by the hospital. And again, that sector draw, quite frankly, that sector draws from south of Calgary with Okotoks and some of the outlying communities as well. So when that comes in, a commercial retailer then wants to be in that space because the traffic, again, population, it's just the different nature of the population. So,
what's a great example of a commercial space that became a community hub?
I'll start off by saying a lot of our retailers and offerings are great supporters of all of our communities. The one that for me always is probably is a good example would be our local pub / restaurant offering. This group that started with the Kilton Caber for us in Mackenzie Town, then moved on to the Last Straw Ale House in Tuscany. Then they started the Berwick in Cranston, the Blackbird in Auburn Bay, and then Tommy Fields in Seton, which those sort of all span my career in some shape or form with this organization. That is a group that is a local business owner, and they have multiple pubs as well. What's great about them is they brand every pub different, they theme every pub different. So to the end consumer, it never feels like a chain. And they have a unique quality to them. They hire locally, which is always great. But for us, I think, or for me, the example is always they've been a huge supporter of the communities that they're in, and specifically with some of the community events and their give back to the community. So the example that shines for me always is the Mackenzie Town Stampede Breakfast. The Kilton Caber Ale House and that owner-operator has always been there to support that breakfast with staff, food, and just to help bring those community events along. And that's just one example, but they're always involved whenever the Homeowners Association wants to organize an event. They generally will engage some of the retailers within the community to look for support. And I'd always say that that's one group that's always got their hand up, ready and willing. I think for us right now in Seton, I think there's a lot of buzz on our junction developments at Market and Main Street. So it's right in the heart of the Seton Urban District, 1 block south of the hospital. It's certainly an exciting project and development for Brookfield Residential as we're developing, at least in Alberta, our first mixed-use development with retail at the ground level and residential apartment units above. And the excitement and buzz is there we've got a good mix of, actually probably more of a focus on local retailers. We have a good servicing of the national retailers west of this area, but some of the retailers I know that certainly I'm excited about, and I hope others are. Community Natural Foods is sort of our anchoring tenant on Market Street. Also sort of at the adjacent corner, Phil and Sebastian's is another great local retailer, started with the farmers market and has been an amazing success story locally here in Calgary as well. Another group that we're really excited about is to get to have a SCA. So SCA offering, this will be the second SCA in Calgary. Their first location is down on 11th Avenue in the Beltline. So amazing sort of wellness, personal wellness and hydrotherapy offering. And then, we've got a great mix of some food offerings with Brooklyn Dumplings, Liao Kitchen and Ramen. We've got Holy Shakes, which is an amazing burger, fusion burger and shake joint. Red's Diner, Leopold's Tavern. We've got a great local, it'll be her first vet clinic, but it'll be a nice upscale vet offering on Market Street as well. We've got Saigon Rex as another great Vietnamese restaurant on Market Street. So there's a number of great components coming in Seton. Then I'd say for Livingston, we looked to break ground this year on our shopping center there, Livingston Center. It will be a grocery anchored shopping center with the intent to have gas, pharmacy, banks, and as we move on with daycare, some fitness studios, and then we get into some of the food and beverage offerings as well, those are always fun components as well. So that's exciting. On that one right now, can't disclose any names, but certainly soon to come.
How do you see commercial amenities evolving over the next few years?
First and foremost, retail is ever evolving. It has to, because consumers' tastes and preferences are always changing, and retail adapts. It's probably the one business I think that always has to be on its toes, because people's taste and preference can change, and change sometimes quickly. I would say, so it's always tough to say what new concepts are out there, but I'd say what we've been seeing as a big change, and I think most people would see this in their daily lives, is the smaller merchandise and clothing stores. They're difficult to find outside of an enclosed mall these days. So that's been a big change. A lot of the larger format or big box retailers are starting to sell sort of everything from a merchandising perspective. So there's a lot of consolidation in that space. What's probably coming new, and we're seeing it more and more, is experience-based retail. A lot of that finds its way, whether it be on the food and beverage side of the business or just the entertainment side of the business. I think, and even some of those would be, finding very choice locations and to begin operating in. I think at the scale of our developments, some of the more unique potential retailers that we'll see are post-COVID, and I hate to talk about COVID, but post-COVID, a lot of people had time to indulge in their hobbies and crafts. And we've started to see some businesses start to gain some steam and traction in that space. So again, experiential, But whether it's beading, whether it's jewelry making, those types of crafts, or even clay molding and whatnot, those types of vendors are opening up.
Cool. All right. All right. What's the best restaurant you've been to in Calgary?
Too many to name, but I'll say my favorite is Mercado down in Mission.
Okay. What's the first concert you ever went to?
My first concert was Bryan Adams, an acoustic session at the Jubilee.
Nice. Okay. If you could live in any Brookfield community, past or present, which one would you choose?
I like the water, and so for me, Auburn Bay would be probably my choice for my family and myself.
Nice. Yeah, good news. What's your favorite space in a home, kitchen, living room, backyard, or something else?
My favorite space for downtime would be the living room, but my favorite space is always the kitchen with the family. So.
Okay. What's a project you're especially proud of at Brookfield?
I think it's always evolving and changing, but I have to pick one. Seton, the urban district. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Hospitals, as sort of an anchoring component, don't come by every day, so it's a special project that demands special attention, so I'd have to say the Seton urban district.
Okay, last one. What's something people would be surprised to learn about your job?
Scratch that one.
There's something surprising about your job?
I don't know. I don't know what would surprise somebody. So in our business, nothing surprises you anymore at the end of the day. So
Perfect. That's it.
okay.
That's a wrap.
All right, that's a wrap.